Starting the recording. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, let's take a look.
Like, just to have an idea, my latest running objectives have been how to preserve HP, but still exert lane pressure, so that I'm still available to for fights, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I still exert pressure on the enemy laner, so he can't really, just roam around the map, right? Or I can actually exert kill threat and use that to get lane control,
Mm-hmm.
and finding that balance, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, early skirmish, whatever, come back.
I'm sorry, sir. Did you say something to me? I was putting my headphones on.
No. You're good.
Okay, I'm just here watching. Good job on your 1000 LP, by the way, bud.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
True, yeah, that's crazy, man.
Too kind.
Hey, really quick, while my mic's unmuted, can you guys
Sure.
hear that fish tank in the background?
I can't hear it.
It's very quiet. Like it's not noticeable, to
Okay.
be honest. You're good.
Okay. Thank you. I'll be back in just a minute, guys.
Yeah, no problem. Yep, I think the early lane is pretty chill. We're just farming up.
Yep, just getting this yes I can get without losing too much HP.
Yep, don't mind it.
If you want to, I think you can skip to level 6, because I think I get the blessing on base.
Yeah, I just want to look through the first 6 looks. That is important. I just want to see if there's anything we'll leave on the off the table.
Yeah, that's fair. My mindset is usually, if I can get a caster, I can. If I can get a caster, I go for it. But if it costs HP, I usually just give it up and try to focus on the melees.
Yeah, makes sense.
By the way, this is fine here. Or should I push the wave?
Yeah, let's take a look again. We saw Talon, right?
Yeah.
This is great. You want to so on a cannon wave, until I would say level 7 to 9, that range, you don't really want to be hard pushing a cannon wave. So this is perfect. This is exactly what you want to do.
Nice, okay. Because my mindset was I want him to lose as much farm as possible, right? And if I look to crash that wave, it's gonna take a lot longer to crash back to me, right? To bounce back to me,
Yeah,
sorry.
well, the thing is, you're also just gonna deny him a lot fewer minions as well.
Exactly, yeah. Since the cannon wave holds so much time in under turret, right?
Yes, that's right. So you actually deny him more by not pushing.
But if it's a normal wave, it's just better to hard push, right?
Yes.
Even if it costs.
That's
Nice,
correct.
okay. Let's go. When junglers gank this early, I usually just take the opportunity
Okay.
to push the wave.
Yeah, so this is really important, right? Something that's extremely important that will help you when you play champions like Kassadin or Asol and stuff like that is your ability to tell your team what you want to do. Okay? So what I mean by that is that
Okay.
you know Kassadin pretty well. Like you know Kassadin, I don't want to fight pre-6. My gang setup pre-6 is awful, right? I don't want any skirmishes pre-6. I need to get to my boxing one. You know all that, right? You know that.
Exactly, yeah.
This Rengar has no idea how Kassadin works. Zero. He has no idea that Kassadin is a champion that wants to fight level 6. He has no idea that you can't set up a game. He doesn't know any of that. Okay? So your job is to make it as clear as possible to him that you don't want anything to happen in your lane. With your
I
pings.
see, and I should
Right?
communicate that.
Yes, because a lot of people would look at this and be like, "This Rengar's an idiot," right? Like not actually, but you know what I mean. Like subconsciously, you'd be like, "What the hell is the guy doing?" Right? Why is he game?
But the thing
Why
is,
is
he
he game?
doesn't know, right?
He
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
know.
fair.
Like you want to know something that's interesting? Even challenger level players don't know other lanes. That's actually if you listen to comms, like even take Genji, the best team in the world. their jungler doesn't know jack shit about what their mid laner wants to do, right? Specifically, like each individual like 30-second timer, they have no idea, right? They might know what their champion they might know what their champion wants to do, but like they don't know the nitty gritty. Same thing with the mid laner. Mid laner has no idea what jungle camp the jungler is going to take. So high level communication, even at a challenger level, is always about what is it that I want to do / don't want to do, and how can I communicate that to my teammates? And that trickles down all the way down, right? From challenger and especially at silver, right? We need to be making it crystal clear to our team what is it that we want. So your pings here need to be spam ping back, spam ping back, spam ping back. There's no way you can get a gank early game as a Kassadin. This is never going to work.
Yeah, that's completely right. Yeah.
And that's actually a really important skill to learn. Like, it doesn't sound like that would be that useful because it's like, oh, like that doesn't actually affect the gameplay, right?
No, but it's insane impact,
yes,
right? Because
yes.
Rengar doesn't die here. Now he's
Yes.
kind of out of the game unless he gets a snowboard opportunity
Yes.
out of nowhere.
And so that inherently makes the game more difficult. So even though you didn't make a mistake, right? The
could
game
have
is now
prevented
harder.
it, yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
I see. But can I ask a question then?
Mhm.
If a gank, let's say if instead of a Rengar, right, which is really weak per 6 until he gets his ult, it's like a Jin Zhao, right, who can gank level 3 and chunk the enemy move laner down without
Mhm.
like severely putting me in behind, right?
Mhm.
Like, is it fine to take advantage of the chunk on
So-
the mid laner to get a
Yeah,
resource advantage?
That's a great
to get space
question.
in lane?
That's a great question. My answer is going to depend on what rank you're playing in, okay? The higher elo you
okay.
get, the more I'm okay with that because the more you will understand the 2v2 holistically, right? Right now, your level of play is going to be very unrealistic for you to perfectly know how the 2v2 is going to be, right? Like, you're not going to know
that's
exactly.
fair.
So it's going to be hard for me to give you an answer because in some games, then thou ganking a Kassadin will be completely fine. In other games, as thou ganking a Kassadin is still going to be him dying, right? Depending on the 2v2. So we're not at that level, I would say, until you get to like high gold / plat. I want to worry about the 2v2, right? I want to worry about any jungler. I would just stick to what is it that I want as a Kassadin. Just focus only on yourself.
I see.
And so, yes, technically, my answer, like a technical answer, is yes. As Zhao can do that, and that's fine compared to Rengar. But my actual answer to you, given that you're a silver Kassadin player, is no. Don't let anyone near your lane until you're ready to fight.
Exactly, which is level 6 Westing one, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. That's really awesome info, actually.
So let me get the notepad out as well so we can write this down. So we've got it. So I think, communication
Of my intention,
about
right?
what you want, yes, intention, is very important. Assume no one understands your champion as well as you do in the game, right?
Okay,
Which is
that's a
true.
good
That
one,
is
actually.
objectively true.
Exactly, because I'm in silver, right? I need to set up my expectations to reality,
Yeah.
right?
And even in Challenger, me as a Yone, I have 2,000 Yone games and 1K LP. There's no one in that game that knows Yone even remotely close to me, right? So this actually
That's
never
true, yeah.
changes no matter what elo you're in because you are the one who's playing maining your champion. You understand your champion. No one else understands them as well. No one else has mained your champion. No one else has played mid lane as much as you. So you need to come in knowing that. Just as much as like you don't know as much about jungle as your jungler, right? It's the same thing.
Yeah, that's completely true.
And so yeah, like signal what you want, right? This is extremely important. This will actually make your games easier.
Because it's gonna align more with my identity, right?
Yes.
And so I'm gonna be playing more into my win condition, and so I'm gonna have more uptime, right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay,
And
that's huge, actually.
And that will also make the games less volatile as well, because like the enemy will just be like, your jungler would just be clearing right now instead of dying in that 2v2.
I see, yeah. By the way, what do you think of this reset? Because I think this reset kind of cooked my game, you know what I mean? But I felt like I needed to go for it because I need a tier, right? So that I can be available for skirmishes with my Rengar.
Okay. So this is going back to what we were talking about before. You really do not want to hard push a cannon wave unless you're moving to a play. If you're hard pushing a cannon wave for a reset, you really don't want to do that because you're actually denying the enemy less minions, right? So just okay. Something that's really important to understand is that your goal as a Kassadin is to stay in an isolated 1v1 for as long as possible and power farm till mid game, right? I want you to think as skirmishes as a luxury, not a necessity.
Okay. I
Not a
got the
necessity,
completely wrong idea then. I
right?
thought Kassadin was a skirmish champion,
No, no,
like
nope,
until 11.
nope.
Okay, yeah, that's a big mindset shift
Yes.
actually.
Yeah, because you have to remember that you like I think the perfect way of putting it. It's like it's not like you can't take a skirmish. You're not like ASOL where you literally can't fight at level 6. You definitely can as Kassadin, but
Or
it's a
like a KO,
luxury.
right?
Yeah, it's like a luxury. It's like something that you will get like if it happens, it happens. But if it doesn't, like I'm not gonna alter my game plan to get this,
Damn, I've been doing that like
right?
for the past, I think, for 20 games.
And that's why your farm is so low, right? Because in this scenario, all we got to do is leave this wave neutral. You deny this town a lot of minions, and then you can just create a stacked wave, and then you can take your reset. If your Rangar skirmishes, you won't be there, of course, but that's fine. Now you get a perfect reset, right? You get your tier. You denied Talon a lot of farm. You're up XP. You have good farm, right? And you're
And
chilling.
it's completely snowballs because Kassadin went ahead in XP, just
Yes.
completely cooked for the enemy team.
Yes. Yeah, it's like in this entire sequence here, I'd be looking to just 1v1 the Talon. I don't give a shit about pushing and moving or anything like that. Like, he's got no W. We can maybe look to try to deny him some creeps here, right?
I see, yeah. But I also need to respect his all-in potential, right? Because he still has ult up.
Yeah, so Talon specific, just some Talon learning, is that he has very little all-in threat without his W available. When he has
Oh,
W,
because of
you
his
gotta be...
passive, right?
Yes, it's very hard to proc passive even with R without W. So the second you see him burn
Okay.
W, you can trade.
Should I go for EQ or can I go for an arena as
No,
well?
I would not R in because his W might come off CD if you R in.
Oh,
I
I
would just EQ.
see.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's my biggest issue with the Talon matchup specifically then.
Hmm.
Because we look to our in, especially if you
Yeah.
electrocute.
Yeah, so I think there's a few lane specifics, right? It's like Kassadin is an opportunistic trader. That's how I want you to view it. So what that means is you are not
When
the
they
one.
use cooldowns.
Yes, you aren't initiating a trade, right?
Exactly, it's not
You
like a
are
Yasuo, like when
waiting
the
for
minion is low, you jump on them.
You're waiting for a mistake, then you trade.
By the way, can I ask
Mm.
a question then regarding this?
Yeah.
Because it's something that's been bothering my mind, right? Because you want them to use spells, right? Either on
Mhm.
the wave or a genuine mistake, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when they hold your spells, what you do, right? Because if I use mine to collect the creeps, right? Then I'm the one without the cooldowns, right?
Well, what you would do is you would bait it, right? So let's just take a specific scenario here. Let's say we come back on a neutral wave. He's holding his spells. Well, you have R, right? Just walk up on last hit, and he can't touch. Like if he's not using spells, then you're fine to last hit. You don't need to use abilities as a farm, right? If he's not using spells on you, and if he chooses to use a spell on you, you just R backwards,
Oh, I see. I never thought of
right?
that
So you don't
actually.
have to worry about like the only time you have to worry about last hitting is if they're preemptively using their spell as you're walking up for the creep. But in which case, if they do that, which is what his talent is doing, now he's vulnerable. They get traded on. You see what I
I
mean?
see. I see what you mean. Yeah, yo, that's crazy. I've never thought of R as an engage, so you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's a crazy mindset shift.
I don't mind this roam specifically because you saw there was two on top side, right?
Exactly,
So you
yeah.
create
So
a
I want
numbers
to go for a
advantage.
cross map play.
Yep, I think that's
But the
totally
thing is,
fine.
I use some minions for it, right?
Yeah, you lost a little bit, but this is a very likely play to work because you have a pike, right? Pike is very easy to set up ganks, and then enemies overextended. So because of those two variables specifically, this is a good play because this is
I see,
guaranteed to be
yeah.
2 kills for sure. Like, there's no way it's not 2 kills.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, push the wave, come back. So right here, he's got no W. We can trade here. I'll be looking to trade onto him there.
I see, yeah. Even though I have no vision on the... Even though the enemy was near, because she was causing raptors there, right?
Yeah, but like think about how long that takes for her to get to you, right?
I see.
Like that's gonna take
Yeah,
at
that's
least
true.
8 seconds, 9 seconds, 10 seconds. Your R is a 5 second cooldown, so you could just jump in, jump out.
And it's worth spending my HP here?
Well, yeah, because he has no W, right? He's never gonna win that trade.
Oh, even if he uses Q, yeah, that's true.
because he's down a whole ability. You got to remember in League, being down an entire ability is massive for
insane,
trades.
yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if it's their main cooldown, right?
Yeah, so I
Especially
think
their main damage cooldown.
yeah, so I think you need to I think you need to experiment / play around with trading on enemy CDs as Kassadin post level 6 plus blasting one, right?
Massive
With
one,
R.
yeah. Because what happened when I started playing Kassadin, right? Because
Mhm.
I was kind of okay, but when let me just get to the point. I'm sorry. When I started playing Kassadin,
Mhm.
like I would focus too much on the 1v1, right? Let's say they use the cooldown of the wave. Boom, I would insta jump in, right?
Mhm.
But then the thing is, right, I would go for so many trades that now it would be like 50% HP, 60% HP, and now I'm just not available for the map. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. But in my opinion, I don't think you need to be available for the map on the map because you have to remember.
Oh,
Okay,
I
like
want to
think of it
power
like
farm.
this.
That's true.
Yeah, but think of it like this, okay? Because you're only looking from your own perspective. It's like, oh man, if I trade, I'm no longer available for a play. Now let me ask you this: if you have a trade with Talon, and he's at 20% on his team, is he available for a play?
He's also not
He's
available.
not
That's true.
available. So now, if
Yeah.
we compare Talon versus Kassadin, who do you think is more in a rush to impact the map?
I think it's Talon, right?
Yes,
Because he's
exactly.
way weaker. I see. Yeah.
Right? So now you making the game not revolving around mid, neither you both of you guys are locked in lane, is always beneficial for Kassadin, right? It's always beneficial because now you're almost every champion in the game is better early game than Kassadin, right? But almost every champion in the game is worse late game than Kassadin, which means that if you stop them from impacting the map early game, that's giving you more time to be able to impact the map later in the game, right?
I see. Yeah, that's
So you
true.
got to look at it from the other perspective as well. If you trade, you're denying the enemy a chance to play the game as well.
Yeah, that's huge actually.
Like right here.
Okay.
Like look at actually what happened. What happened to your set?
Yeah, he got completely cooked by the Talon
And so
there.
why
I
is
should have
that?
pinged it off.
Right? But
Because I
what
didn't
is the
check the
reason?
Talon down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you didn't track the Talon, you didn't go for a trade or anything to punish his W cooldown, right? Yeah, you didn't communicate, right? So that's everything we talked about so far. And that's actually I think why your casting games are so difficult right now. Well, actually, watch you play Casted, and your mechanics are fine, right? I think your understanding of your spikes and stuff makes sense as well. Your TB usage from the clip you sent me was good, right? But it's like we're just always playing in a tough game because of all these small things that are adding up. But like big
I
things, like
see.
these are
Yeah.
big things, but like hard things to notice yourself, I guess. Like these things are
I know
like
what
hard
you mean.
to.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
they're big mistakes, right? Because they have a huge snowball effect on the
Yes.
game, right?
Yes.
But they're very hidden, right?
Yes, that's right.
Like I feel that sometimes I go for one bad trade and I lose the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Can't come
For
back with
example,
wins.
that usually happens to me when I'm versing Valzahar. Like
Okay.
sometimes I don't, but that doesn't matter right now. I'm
So
sorry.
you're good. So this is really important. This is exactly what I mean right now. Freeze frame it right here. What's happening to the mid waves?
The medium is gonna meet, right?
There's a mid wave here for you to catch, right? Now look at what your first instinct response is. Like your immediate, the second you see something happening in bot, what do? You're already willing to move, right? Look at this.
I'm not level 11. Yeah, that's
We're
true.
so close to level 11. We're one wave away. Talon's dead. We can deny him so much, hit level 11, get plates for ourselves, accelerate ourselves.
I see.
We don't need to
yeah.
go bot, right? It's a 3v3. This isn't your job, right? Like, the important thing in the league is just understanding what is my job. Sometimes your job is to not do anything. Sometimes your job is just to farm. Sometimes your job is to be that mid game powerhouse, right?
Instead of looking for these early
Yes.
skirmishes with my jungler
Like-
and look to snowball
Like,
ourselves, I see.
let me give you like this is gonna be a really weird analogy, but I think this will help paint the picture, right? I want you to imagine you're like somebody has contracted your company to build the house, and you've got like an electrician, you got somebody who builds the foundation of the house, right? You got somebody who installs the internet, right? Imagine the guy who has to put the electricity down, or the guy who has to install the internet is trying to put down the foundation of the house, right?
Yeah, that's
He
not
doesn't
gonna
know how
work.
to
Yeah,
do
that's
that,
true.
right? He doesn't know how that works. So his job is to sit there and wait until the foundation is built, and then he can act upon that and do his job. That's how I want you to view Cassidy. You are the guy that comes in after the early games have been played. You're the guy who comes in after the foundation has been put down. You do all the intricate stuff in the mid game. That's your job as a Cassidy.
Okay. Damn.
And up until that point, you're just chilling and farming. Like, yeah, sure, you get this kill, but 3v3, your team would have already won this. So you could have your team would have won 3v3 here, and you would be power farming mid and getting plates at the same time.
So it would just be more resources. I would be
Yes.
behind as behind
Exactly.
in HP, right?
Yes.
I missed ult and I go back.
Yep, that's
No,
fine.
but I see what you mean. Yeah, that would be insanely huge. Now here, should I do in situations like this, where my bot lane is already deployed bot lane, on the side lane, sorry.
Well, again, first things first, communicate always, right? So we
So I
go
should
back here.
communicate, I want
Here. Right? This is your timer here to communicate. Right when that bot turret died. Right? That's the time to swap.
So I should ping on my way onto the bot lane then, right?
Yep, ping him back, get him excited about mid, tell him spam ping him assist mid, and then you start moving bot. And then this is the ACE framework, right? Which is acknowledge the best play, communicate it, and then embrace reality. So most of the time, I would say like 9 times out of 10, if you communicate properly, right, he's gonna
It's
move.
gonna work, yeah.
And if he doesn't, then it is what it is. You stay mid, right? Like you can't.
And you just overload, right?
Yeah. You would well, I would just stay mid if he doesn't move, right? Just bite the bullet. But 9 times out of 10, that's not gonna happen. Like he'll go mid. Or you can go at the top or something, maybe, right? Or you can communicate and get yourself in top lane, and get your top lane or somewhere else. You know, you just need to get to the side lane as casted in. So like here, this is really important. We need to get to the side lane, right? No reason to be going mid now. So I'd say like
even though the Herald is up, then right?
Again, our job as the Kassadin, your job is not to play this Herald right now, right? Your job as the Kassadin is what? Go to fights with your TP.
Oh, true.
Remember?
And with my flash as well, right?
With your TP and flash. We got no TP, we got no flash. You're not even at 2 items yet. You're not that strong. You do have 5 kills, but you could be really strong in a little bit, right? Once you can get your TP flank and you get your Archangels. So until that point, I don't want to do anything right now. If your team loses, your team loses, right? I can keep accelerating myself.
I see, yeah. But wouldn't it make the game a lot harder?
Well,
Because then my team would lose their snowball as well, right?
Well, you have to
Because it would
remember you were
die.
just assuming that they're gonna lose, right? Where's the rationale that makes you automatically know that your team is gonna lose Herald if you don't go there, right? That's something that many
that's
players
true,
think about.
yeah.
They just automatically assume your team is gonna lose. But we actually look at the map right now, like it's very unlikely for the enemy team to even contest the Herald, right? Their Kled is
Because don't
bot.
have any they don't have area control, right?
They have no area control. Set is pushing top. Pike is coming back, right?
Kled is also bot lane, so he
Kled
can
is bot.
collapse on
Yeah,
Herald.
so like you can't just assume your team will lose. You got to actually look at the game state you're in, right?
I see, yeah.
Like if you're gonna go to a play that you need to be at, right? Then yeah, like obviously, like if you're going for like 3rd Drake and your team really needs you, sure. But this is just like a Herald. Your team is stacking Drakes. You got 2 Drakes already. You have no ults, so it's very hard for us to team fight, even if you're there, right? Kled's bot. You don't have to be at this Herald, and that's why your farm is so bad, right?
Yeah, I see. That's crazy.
Because look what happened, right? Even Rengar realized that this is maybe not the best play while his team's on the map.
And he goes to his
And
camps.
so now what are you
yeah.
doing? You're just useless here, right? They're not farming
I'm
anything.
just burning time, yeah.
Yeah.
Like this is not even being on tempo.
And then
Like,
this
even though I'm
even-
on the same tempo
and
line,
this-
I'm just burning it.
Yes, and this also fucks over your Ezreal, right? Because if you're Ezreal this scenario and you see Kass in mid, what are you gonna do?
He's gonna play bot and now
And
he's
so
gonna
now
be
you can't
insided
get to
where
the
he wants
side
to
lane
be.
again.
Exactly, and it snowballs completely because now I don't get
Yeah.
side lane resources. I can go for flanks.
Exactly. So we need to be more harsh with ourselves about getting into the side lane, right? So we need to make
see.
that a priority, right? And then the other thing
And
is, don't assume your team will lose. Actually assess the situation, then decide if you need to be there or not.
I see, yeah.
Right? Because once we actually assess this together, you came to the conclusion that you didn't actually need to be here. But the problem is why did you not come to the conclusion in the game? And then because you're not doing this.
I see, yeah. I think the other reason that I wanted to be there when I was in game was that I thought that my role was to complement my jungler on 11 plus Malignant Spike.
Right. But in
But
reality,
now that
your
I know
job.
it's not my job.
Yeah, that's not your job. Your job as Kass is get the 2 items, and then you can play the game. You need to get the 2 items.
Exactly. Like I can obviously look for opportunistic play, right? Just
Yes.
like we talked about.
Yes.
But it's not something I should
Yes,
actively
it's a
look for, like I'm
luxury.
doing here.
Yes, it's a luxury. That's how I want you to view it. It's like that's how it
I
just
see.
that's just
yeah.
something extra on top, like sprinkled on top. If you can find it, sure, but don't force it. Like here as well, we've got TP.
I should just.
Why are we grouping?
I
Push
see. I
top,
should just push bot. Exactly. Yo.
right? And then you can always
And
TP to the Drake if you need to.
exactly. And if I don't need to, I just think that my
Yeah,
pressure
imagine you
on
could have
top
probably
lane.
taken top tier 2 here, right? Your Ezreal literally won
Exactly.
1v1. Your team is probably going to win this play. You don't have to be here. So you could just kept pushing top here and got a top tier 2 that's 700 gold. That's almost a full level. You'll be level 14 plus 700 gold in the bank, right? You're very close to level 16. You're almost 3 items. Then at that point.
I see what you mean, yeah, and that's a huge resource acceleration.
Yes, exactly.
So do you only look to set up the domino effect on 2 items then?
Yeah, I would say 2 items is when I'm a lot more willing to like group earlier for a play, right? Like stack your R early before play and like come from Fog of War. Like that's when I'm at 2 items, I'm more comfortable with that. Before then, I really don't like just grouping early. Like always split push first and then TP.
I see, yeah.
So like that's why I don't mind this one that much because you are at 2 items. But yeah, I mean, objectively
I'm-
speaking, us splitting top would have been just better, right? Because our team was already
Exactly.
winning this.
Because I'm now on the point where I'm getting behind on XP, right? Because I'm already
Yes.
I'm only level 13 with 7
Yes.
kills. Like that's illegal.
Exactly. So
For
yeah,
example, here I should just go top 10, right? Or
Yeah.
bot lane because
yeah,
Dragon is there.
go bot first and then TP after you push bot out all the way if you need to get to this play.
I see, yeah.
But again, it's always assess the situation. If you look like your team is about to take a fight, right? And we know for sure there's going to be a big fight that we have to be at, then of course TP. But like, there's nothing to fight over and mid right now. Your team's already taking the Drake, or we're already set up for the Drake, right?
I see, so it's just useless to even set up the domino effect with the Wool and the Jinx, right? Because there's no objectives to contest for, so
Yeah.
the main advantage is useless, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And we take a look at this scenario here again. Why are we fighting? There's no objective here. Look over your Rengar is, right? This is like a play that you can't even win, even if you're here. Because right, look where Rengar is. He's bought.
It's also a complete main disadvantage, right? So
Yeah, exactly. So what do you think we should be doing right now?
I should just go top then.
Yes,
Holy
exactly.
moly.
Yeah.
Damn.
Right, so this will be the same thing. Like Kassadin can destroy an AC isolated, right? Look at where the Jinx is. She's by herself. You can just kill
But
her.
she's under tower though, no?
You can one shot her under turret at this point in the game.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So you gotta remember all of so another thing, all of Kassadin's damage comes from his W and his R mid to late game. Okay?
Isn't it the E?
No, it's all from R and W. That's where majority of his damage comes from. At late game, at mid to late game, right? Obviously, the earlier in the game it is, the more it's E, and the less is R and W. But at this point in the game, for sure, 2 items with this level, it's definitely your R and W. So if you want to kill somebody, you want to R on top of their head with 4 stacks, with W. Like this Jinx is literally dead for full health, and one rotation of spells here.
I thought it was still E at every point in the game.
Nope.
Damn. It's because it's guaranteed damage, right? Because it's point and click.
What?
Or is it the W? Or is it because it does more damage?
It just
than the E?
does the most damage. Like your R and W do the most damage because they're melee spells, right? Like your R is a small AoE, and your W is literally pure melee. So balance, like if you just think about it from a design perspective, of course the spells that put you in the most melee position are going to do the most damage, right? Your E is AoE and pseudo ranged, and your Q is a shield that's ranged. So the relative damage of your E and Q compared to your melee range W and R is
Is
nothing,
way
not even close.
lower than.
Yeah.
And I was the game here, by the way. So I think we can end review here. Because now it was on Ataka, now I had an XP and damage. I was my snowball as well, so. The little snowball head, right? It's not even a big one. It's not even meaningful.
No, I mean, we'll take a look at this because I do think this is a play we should be at for sure.
But I think I just overextend here. Like I just commit too hard. I should just kill the Diana and then just go
And get
away,
out.
right?
Yeah,
And
that's
preserve
right.
and value my life.
But I think your micro you could probably improve on your own pretty easily. Like I think you're doing a good job of recognizing when you could get at like how to approach a fight better. So I'm not really worried about that. But yeah, really what I'm worried about is a few things, right? I think we talked about so the mid to late game understanding where our damage is coming from, right? Is really important. So early game, it's E spam with Q. Um,
Then level 9 it's E and R, right? Because R also gets a lot more
Yeah,
damage
E
with
and R,
malignaness.
and then yep, and then once we're at 2 items plus at level 13, it's W plus R, right? Specifically three
Okay.
plus stacks on R. Okay, and you play like an assassin, right? In mid game,
Exactly.
right? So we want to
With
kill key targets.
with the malignance build, right? Because of if it's raw, it's different, right? Because it's more of a
If you're
bruiser
like
kind of
Roa with
build.
Conquer, yeah, it's a lot different. Which is why I recommend you just pick one build to play only.
I see, yeah. I've
Uh,
been lately I've been picking assassin with malignance, right?
mhm.
And wait, I tried Electro for some games, but I've gone back to what I used to play, which is Comet with Axiom Arcanist, right?
Mhm.
Then I go for Absolute Focus so that the opportunity trades hit really hard, right? Because I'm gonna be high HP. It
Mhm.
also helps with the wave clear. Then I go Gathering Storm because it also has value when I want to be strong, right? Which is on 10 minutes with Malignus and then on 20 with Seraphs.
Mhm.
And then I go Sudden Impact and Ultimate Hunter. What do you think of that setup? It's fine or
To be honest, when it comes to setups, if it works, then I'm fine with it. It's just about owning your identity and understanding what's your job with that setup. So like I think that
I
setup
see.
works and that's reasonable, but just make sure you're utilizing it properly, right? Like making sure you're being very opportunistic with it and understanding that your one shot potential mid game is gonna be worse without electrocute. But you're trading that from where early game lane prio, right? So it's making sure you
I see,
understand
yeah.
that, right? That's all that matters. I don't really care that much about what the setup you go is. It's more about how you use it.
And about assuming that identity, I see.
Yeah. So yeah, I think for you in terms of learning objectives, the main thing we need to recognize is understanding that like you're just an opportunistic champion. Stop trying to force stuff to happen. You just remember you're an inevitability. You're a time bomb. So you're okay with the game playing around you, doing what you need to do. And if a play arises that you can go for it. But don't force it, right? Don't force priority if you can't get it or if it feels awkward. Don't force dropping side waves because you're scared your team is going to lose, right? Just do the right thing and then be opportunistic, and the games will win themselves.
I see, yeah.
Um,
So can I ask a question regarding that then?
yeah.
Like, because it's my biggest trouble with being opportunistic on Castlin, right? Because on ASO, it was very simple, right? It's just, okay, do I have R up? Like, do you do you already have control? Are they low and can I just swoop by? But
Mhm.
with Castlin, it's like, I need to be high HP, right? Because then I have range. But if I waste my HP on the lane, right, I get space for myself, but I close myself off those possible opportunities on the map, you know what I mean? So it's like, how do you think should I balance it? Should I just value more, f- playing for my own uptime?
You should always value your own
Even
uptime the most over anything else,
oh,
no matter
okay,
what, as Cassidy.
okay.
But again, what do we talk about? If you trade with your enemy, what are you closing off as well?
I'm closing there. Yeah, that's
So
true.
you're
Yeah,
because you're too tunnel vision on yourself, right? You're thinking, oh man, I can't do anything on the map. Yeah, that's true, but you're preventing
but
the
they
enemy
also
from doing anything,
can't.
right? A Talon would really hate that,
Okay.
for example.
Or like an Ari as well, right? Or a
Yeah,
Malzahar that
exactly.
wants to be there healthy and early at the spot, right?
That's right.
Okay. Yo.
So yeah, I think these are like the five things I want you to focus on. The communication, I think that one was important. A little bit smaller though in terms of a goal. So I wouldn't like overemphasize on that. Just remember this in the back of your pocket and slowly improve it. But this I really want you to focus on. Really understanding what's your goal as a Cassidin. Um, and really understanding about getting yourself in the side lane and understanding how you get your damage off and just being opportunistic. I think these are like the key thing. Honestly, these bottom four are the key things I really want you to work on.
I completely agree. Yeah, those are fucking huge. It's gonna be a huge mindset
Yeah.
shift, and I'm so hyped actually. Holy! Can I ask some more questions if you don't mind,
Yeah.
or
No.
are you running
No. Of
short on time?
course. No. No worries, man.
Let's go. Okay, so what do you consider the mid game on Castlin? Because for example, let's say I'm playing the Fury, right?
When you
I'm
get to the
fine
side
with
lane.
Okay, so it's but on casting, do I also need to have level 11 and some more items? For example, Marines and Sork boots. Because on Fury, for example, I'm fine just going with Eclipse, right? Even though I don't have my level 11. Or for example, but on KO it's different, right? I won't
No
have my
matter
level
what items
11,
you have on
my
Kassadin,
measures.
you always want to go to the side lane first before you group,
Oh, okay.
right?
As
You
soon
want to
as
put pressure in
possible
the side
then.
lane, right? Imagine a Yone, right? A Yone, no matter what items he has, he wants to force the enemy to feel scared in the side lane, and then he can go group. That's the same thing with Kassadin. Doesn't matter what items you have. The only thing that
Okay.
the only thing that items have to do with anything is when you are allowed to group at all, right? I'd say when you're on Malignants and you don't have Archangels, I'd be very terrified of grouping unless I know I need to be there for that play or it's an opportunistic 4v5 or something, right? Man advantage.
Yeah, I see. But on because on service you get a lot of haste, right? Get a lot of mana, which also increases our damage. It also makes me
Yes.
safer.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I thought the Malignus fight was way more important.
That's
Where like
important,
I
but it's
had to
important for your
restrict.
1v1. That's not important for team fighting.
Oh, okay. Because my traits get a lot more
Yes,
lethal
you can
then.
go in and out a lot easier with Malignants in a trade. In a team fight, your R still too long cooldown to even fight, right? Because there's too many champions. 1v1, you could
It's
spam your R and they will kill you, right?
exactly, yeah, because on the 1v1 2 seconds is a lot very short time, but in a team fight it's a huge amount of time, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, this is so huge. Okay, can I ask you another question by the way regarding sidelining?
Yeah.
Okay, so most champions I've put so far, like they're fine going on that 1v2 situation, right? And getting the man advantage on the other side of the map, right? And they can just neutralize, for example, Kale it's fine for it to just get a farm, Meso can just wave curry EQ, right? And with two Kassadin, should I want to still neutralize myself on level 11? Is it fine to stay on that 1v2 and just catch waves? Even if with my team getting an advantage on the other side of the map? You
That's
see
what
what
you
I'm
want.
getting, or is it
That is
confusing?
that is what you want as Kassadin. You want to draw pressure towards you in the side lane because your champion is very hard to kill.
Oh, because of my arm mobility, right?
Yeah, like you don't you want people to come to you.
So I
You
can
want to
drag them
draw
around the
pressure.
map.
Yeah. And especially at TP, because what would happen? Like imagine you're 1v1ing Talon in the side lane, right? And their jungler comes by and you survive. Now your team is on a 3v4, but you can even potentially TP now, right? And now make a 3v5 in the short term.
I see, yeah, that's a huge advantage. Holy.
Yeah.
I was missing out on that then. Because I was kind of afraid of going to side. For example, when the enemy bot lane, oh my god, when the enemy bot lane doesn't swap, right?
Hmm.
Because I can't deal with the 1v2, right? But it's still fine to minimize them with my arm mobility then, right?
Yeah, that's totally fine. Yeah.
Okay, that's huge. Can I ask another question regarding sidewinding then?
Hmm.
Like, how far should I push, right? Because it also depends on the game set, right? Because sometimes you can still hit the tower with your W, right? When match the team's pressure.
Hmm.
Or times, for example, if I'm versing a Yone, it's not the same, right? Because he's stronger. But like, for example, let's say against most mages, right? For example, Victor, Oriana, Malzahar, like. How far should I push? Is it fine to push beyond the river and then look for flanks? Or should I still
Well,
look at the game state and
that's
make
a
a
hard
decision?
question to answer because it would depend on the game state, right? Again, you just remember what your all you got to know is what your job is, and then you just experiment around and see what works or not depending on each game state, and that's where your level of play will come in, right? I can't, I can't, I can't help you evaluate if that play is good or not by giving you a generalization.
Exactly,
What
because
you
each
need to
game is
do,
their own,
yeah,
right?
but what you need to do is just understand what's my job, right? Like you could give two people, a junior and a senior programmer, the same task, and their output is going to look totally different, right? But I can't
Because they're very
force a junior's output to have a
experienced.
senior's output, right? Just he has more experience. He's been in that situation more times. So your job, your homework is to try your job as much as you can in the game and then refine it, right? So at the end of the day, your job is to put pressure on the side. Now, at your level of play, you might feel scared and back off a lot faster than I would because I can assess the situation better. But those are the moments you would go in and review then, and
I
that's where the
see, and
learning
when
would
I
be.
feel scared, I should assess the game setting. Oh, yo!
Yeah.
Okay! Yo, that's so huge! Oh my god, my mind is blowing up right now.
Awesome.
Damn it, that's how I would actually learn. Damn, okay. Thank you so much, AJ, actually.
No problem, man. Do you have anything else you want to
So-
ask, or are you good for now?
Let me just think. Because I think there was another one, but it was too specific as well. So I don't think it's worth it to think about. I think I'm with this material. I think I'm fine, honestly,
Okay.
and I should just work on it.
Yep, I think that's
Thank you
plenty
so
for you
much,
there.
actually.
Yeah, and if you do have questions, let me know, and I'll be around. Okay.